Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome in. We got a short little hardware demo for you today. I just want to show how to change your blade, how to do it on different types of tools. Believe it or not, we do get this question quite a bit, or when folks come in, they are wondering, one, can you just change the blade? Yes, you can. We sell replacement blades, and a lot of them kind of wonder how to do it, or is there a technique or anything. It's really pretty straightforward. It's really easy, but I'll show you anyway. We do sell replacement blades online, so if you have a favorite tool of yours and you've worn through the blade, you will know because eventually it will kind of pop open. Go online. The replacement blades, we have started including links on each tool, so if you find the tool that you have, there should be a link on there now to go to the replacement blade. If you just want to go look at the blades, in the top drop-down menu, you can go Tools, and then under each category there is a replacement blades section. So go check that out. I'm going to show you basically each category of tool and how to switch the blade out. I'll start with the P1, and the P1 and the fine points are basically identical hardware. The P1, this obviously has a curved blade to it. The fine point is just a little bit narrower, smaller blade. It works the same. So this is going to be the exact same hardware. These are all pretty used tools, so you'll notice I got clay in all this. And I'll be using our multi-tool to do it. One of the big reasons that we included a lot of these features in the multi-tool is because if you have our tools, or a lot of the times around the shop, you just need a little screwdriver, you need a little wrench or something, this will work. Fun fact about the multi-tool is this little wrench in here will fit a hex nut that will fit in your bat pins, so keep that around if you want to know. Otherwise, we have a little Phillips screwdriver in there that is perfect for all of this. What do you know? All right, so first things first, there's two ways to kind of undo this, and I like to sort of adjust this. So I'll use the wrench on here and the Phillips. It doesn't matter which one, but on the small tools, I'd recommend using the wrench. It's a little bit easier to get it tighter, and it's a little less likely to spin on you. So let's say I want a new blade. This one broke. I'm just going to pop this loose. And so there's always a nut and a little screw. It's a little bolt, actually. So pop this apart. It's always easy to get apart. So you have a nut and a washer. And then on this side, you have a bolt and a washer. So here's your blade. We'll pretend that's my new blade. Over here, we have a small little bolt and a washer on there. Let's see if I can focus on that. There we go. Small little bolt and a washer. Put the washer on first. So you basically have a blade and all these parts and a handle. The way that we build them here, and this is always what I recommend, is put the bolt and washer through one side of your blade first, just like that. In this case, it is the P1. Then you're gonna hold your handle, and we always put the bolt on the lasered side. And so you're gonna take that bolt, drop it through the hole, and then now you have something that looks like this. Put the other side of the blade over the other bolt, slide your washer on, and then slide that nut on. And then just get it kind of hand started for now. So you'll get to here. If you want to adjust your blade angle, you can. Some folks have a preference for that. And then you can do one of two things. So you can use the little Phillips head and tighten on the bolt side, or you can use the wrench side and give the hex nut a little tighten. So when you're doing this, just make sure the blade doesn't twist on you. That's another reason I like using the hex side. And then you're on there. So that's it. So that's a P tool. Very straightforward. Again, it's the same as a fine point tool. This fine point tool is the same hardware. The blade goes on the same way, and it's symmetrical, so you don't have to worry about which side goes on first. So that's those. The next one that's very similar is an extra wide P tool. This works the same way, except you have some extra spacers in here. So I'll take this one apart. And sometimes, so sometimes when the blade is still intact, you have to unscrew it a little bit because that blade has some tension to it. So just unscrew. There we go. Okay, so same components. If these bolts get tight on you, just unscrew them. So you have a much larger blade and a much longer bolt with a little washer on there. Start with that, and then you're going to pop that through one side of the blade. Go all the way till it's tight. And then for these extra wide tools, you want to take one of those spacers and put that on first. Then you take your handle, laser side up, thread that through your hole. So now I hold it a lot like this, so using my thumb to just hold that bolt through. Take the other spacer, pop that on. We're gonna put the other side of the blade on. And then sometimes here I will screw the bolt a little bit. It just helps it get all the way through everything, so you have a little bit more kind of room on one end. Pop that washer on, and then the nut on the other side. So that is fully assembled. And then finally, you can take either the Phillips and tighten it. If you notice here, I'm turning and that nut on top is also turning and that blade's going to turn. So that's where you want to hold the blade. I'll just kind of steady it with my finger. And that's where holding or tightening the hex side really comes in handy. It will not turn on you and you can get it nice and tight. These wide tools, it's a big blade. You're carving a lot of clay, and so it's important to make sure those are very tight. All right. The next is the X tool. This is probably the most tricky, complicated blade to change, but it's pretty cool. So I will loosen this one up. It's the same hardware. It just goes on a little bit different. And the X blades, if you wear through them or if over time you use them up, you can pop a new blade on. The fine point and the X tools all come with a spare blade when you get a tool. So at some point or another, you're gonna need to do that. Same little bolt and washer. I'll leave that there. Here's your handle, and then here's your blade. So when you get the X blades, they're going to come with these top little arms, loose. They're open like that. Just kind of let them be where they end up for now. I'm gonna do this slowly and try to describe to you how it goes. But first things first is hold your handle and your blade and make sure your blade is upright, and you're just going to put the handle right in the back of the blade. There's like a little slot for it right here. So put her in there and line up the holes, and you can see light through the hole. So I hold that with just one hand. That makes it a little bit easier. Make sure those holes are lined up. And then I'm going to take the far flap right here. It's on the other side of the tool. I'm going to fold that over, just like that. So hopefully you can see it. Fold that over and you'll see my holes are still lined up. So then I grab it, my other hand, holes are still lined up. This is the hardest part of this whole X blade is this right here. Hold that, take your bolt and drop it in. And as long as everything's lined up, it's going to slide through everything. So now on this side, you just have the bolt sticking out. You're capturing one flap there, and you take this last top flap, push that all the way over, and kind of hook it on that bolt. Now you put the washer on and your nut. You can just do kind of finger tight for now. And then this one, you don't have to adjust the blade too much, but just kind of come in here and give it a nice snug tighten. Snug twist, just like that. So the reason this one's a little bit more complicated is because the shape of that blade, it's such thin metal, it needs structure. So that's why everything kind of folds up. It's nice and snug on there. It's actually a pretty durable blade despite being very thin metal. So that is the X tool. We do have all of these videos on our website. And if you buy a spare blade, or you get a tool with a spare blade, you're going to be getting a little QR code. So it is available to find a super slow motion video of what I just did. Lastly is the T-tool. This is the same for all of the T-tools, large, small, regular. And for this one, we'll use the Phillips head again. There are two Phillips bolts. Then we have the two barrels. You can tell the barrels have an extra flathead notch in them. And so they're going to be on the side of the tool with the laser. So we're going to open up the bolts first. When I'm taking it apart, I like to do the bottom first. Unscrew this one. That way I can hold right there. And then once you get these going, they will come out pretty easy. So you have one little spacer. That blade will open up. I'll pull this all apart. If you've worn through the blade, this will be two pieces. So it'll be a little bit easier to take apart. It all just kind of will fall off. Last little bit is start with your blade. Take two of these barrels. They look like that, and drop them through. Then I hold it just like that. Take the spacer, put it on that top one. So now it's even, and when you put this on the handle, those two barrels will slide right in, and that spacer will make room for that little step, that little notch. So then fold your, I'm keeping a finger on the back side, fold your blade over, and I just hold it like that, line up the holes, and then don't forget, put your last spacer in between the handle and the blade. And then you can take your bolt, drop it in, and I'll give this one a little twist. If you notice it gets tight right away, make sure you don't cross thread your bolt and the binding barrel. So just keep an eye on that. It should turn a number of times before it gets tight. So if you notice it just kind of binds up right away, that is cross threading for you. And then now the bottom hole is all lined up. Drop this one in. Tighten her up. And then right before I do like the final tighten, make sure blade is straight. There's just enough play in here where you can mess around with it a little bit. Tighten up. And tighten up. Now your blade is on there, nice and snug, ready to go. So there you have it. Changing all the blades on all of our tools. Keep in mind, these are wood handles. So I always tell people this for our workshops when they come in. Wood will shrink and grow with moisture in the air. It's a natural material. Over time, your bolts will become loose, or if you tighten them one day and it's dry the next day out, you'll notice this wood will shrink. So you're gonna get a little bit looser. So it doesn't hurt to just make sure if If you use them frequently, you won't have to do this, but if it's been a couple weeks and you go trim something, just make sure everything is snug. You'll have a much better time. So hope you enjoyed it, and maybe if you were wondering how to do that, answer some questions for you. Go check them out online. We do have spare hardware for everything as well. So if you lose your hardware, something happens, it is on our website. You can search for it, in addition to just like the spare blades by themselves. And if you do use a lot of, let's say, trimming blades, we have some 10 packs available, which you get a little bit better discount with that. So keep that in mind. If you know you're going to use a lot, or Christmas is coming up, put that on your list. So get a bunch of blades. Other than that, thanks for joining, and have a good rest of your week. We'll get some good, real cool clay demos coming up in the next couple months. So stay tuned. But other than that, yeah, happy Tuesday, and we'll see you next time.